Cruise news time. Well, we've got an unsettling lifeboat accident on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. We've got a couple cruise companies very excited about big sales days that they had over the last week or so. And the Carnival Liberty, it's in a quandary. Passengers being notified today that their sailing may be delayed, their embarkation time delayed. We also have Oceania coming out with a mega Mediterranean cruise heavily focused on the Holy Lands. And well, the guy who went overboard on the Carnival Valor, who was in the water for 20 hours, well, he's speaking out. We get to hear his story. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for December the 2nd, 2022. Still on location, still on assignment on the Carnival Celebration. Well, it's a sea day today, and it's a sea day tomorrow, and then we will be back in Miami. But yeah, looking forward to a great sea day. I've had a lot of fun on the Carnival Celebration, and I've got to share some more things with you. There's something I hate on Carnival cruise ships that, well, last night my mind may have gotten changed. I'm going to share that with you. And then a lot of you guys got concerned yesterday because there was a glitch in the Matrix. There was a pause in the show yesterday, and it made me realize that people don't really understand how I put this show together. So a little later on, I'm going to give you some insight as to what happened there. But first, let's process through some cruise news. Cruise news story number one comes from Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas, who apparently yesterday was doing a lifeboat drill when this happened. This video is from the YouTube page of Kyle Davis, and well, look at it. The lifeboat falls off of the mount, or off of the thing that lowers and raises the lifeboat right into the water, upside down. Certainly unsettling, but silver lining is this happened during a drill, and this is certainly why these drills take place, so that the crew members can practice what to do in the event of an emergency. And fortunately, this lifeboat accident did not occur during an actual emergency, but unsettling nonetheless. It sounds like nobody was injured, probably some damage to the lifeboat there as it did flip upside down. But yeah, that's why they do the drills. They did a drill here yesterday on the Carnival Celebration. Almost any cruise that you go on, certainly there's going to be a drill. So don't be surprised when you see people practicing their emergency situations so that they can encounter things like this and figure out what to do next. Have you ever seen anything crazy with a lifeboat? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number two, we have a couple more cruise lines talking about their big record sales day. Holland America talking about their Black Friday, where they saw a Black Friday increase of 20% over the Black Friday in 2019. Let's think about that. 2019 is before the shutdown, and here we are in 2022 with a volume 20% higher. And then taken in total, the Black Friday and Cyber Monday altogether 10% higher than previous cycles of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Another indication that cruising is coming back stronger. And Royal Caribbean, for the third time in 2022, has had a record-breaking day. The president of Royal Caribbean, Michael Bailey, attributes these large sales numbers to the hype that came with the Icon of the Seas. But again, this is good news for people who love cruising. This is good for the cruise industry. As cruise lines continue to see these record-breaking sales days, it's a nice indication that cruising is back, baby. Did you book anything on Black Friday? Did you book anything on Cyber Monday? What kind of deal did you get? I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. Cruise news story number three. Let's talk about Oceania. Do you know Oceania? It's the next level up in the Norwegian Cruise Line holding family. You got Norwegian Cruise Line, Oceania, kind of their luxury brand. And they've announced a really special cruise taking place in fall of 2023, focused on the Mediterranean and focused on the Holy Land. They just put out this press release. Let me give you a little taste of the press release. Oceania Cruises, the world's leading culinary and destination-focused cruise line, announced a brand new immersive grand voyage itinerary for 2023. Now on sale, the Mediterranean Connection sailing on Marina will embark on a 33-day journey from Venice to Barcelona, immersing guests in the highlights of the Eastern Mediterranean and the Holy Lands like never before. Departing October the 11th, 2023, this grand voyage will call on 28 ports, not repeating one throughout the journey, and will offer 3 shorter segment options of 12 days long. Man, there is some heavy hitters on these ports of call. Venice, Split, Croatia, Corfu. Of course, you'll be in Rome, Ephesus, Athens, Thessalonica, Cairo. Oh, wow. There's some serious stops for Mediterranean lovers there. There's some serious stops in the Holy Land. If this is your thing, I tell you, this cruise, I don't know what the price is. If anybody wants to look up the price on this thing, I would love for you to put it in the comments. But, man, this would be a cruise to end all cruises. This would be right up my alley. But, yeah, is this a cruise that would interest you? Could you see if it was a reasonably priced cruise that you would go on it? What's the most exotic place you've been to? What's the most exotic place on your bucket list? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 4. Let's talk about the Carnival Liberty. She's delayed for an interesting reason. She was in port in Bimini yesterday, and while the winds were too intense that she could not leave port. Now the challenge is the Carnival Liberty has to make its way back to Port Canaveral to drop passengers off today, December the 2nd, and embark new passengers for the next cruise. The delay was so significant that they notified passengers on this sailing today that their sailing would be delayed. The good update is that the Liberty left early this morning from Bimini. She's expected to arrive in Port Canaveral around 3:20 this afternoon, 3:20 p.m., and so hopefully everybody will be able to embark with just a little bit of a delay. Wild story. Are you on the Liberty? Were you impacted? Leave a comment below. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, the man who went overboard and was in the water for close to 20 hours off of the Carnival Valor, he has spoken out. He did an interview this morning with Good Morning America, 7-minute interview. I'm just going to give the highlights of it. I would encourage you to go watch it, but I do want to talk about a couple more things before we get there. First and foremost, yesterday during the show, well, this happened. For a George Washington, for a shiny 25 cents, you'll be able to get adult libations during the happy hour. That's probably the cheapest. That's certainly one of the cheapest prices I've seen for a cruise ship drink. It's almost free. Kind of weird, right? What's the big pause? Was there a glitch in the matrix? Somebody asked, did I have a seizure? Multiple people were concerned that I had a stroke. And it made me realize that you guys don't really understand how I go about making the show. So I thought I would share it with you. I can explain really quickly what happened in that moment. I was talking, I was making a point, and then some noise distracted me outside here in the cabin, that kind of thing. But I got distracted, and so I paused. It might have been an announcement. And so I paused until the noise subsided, and then I went back and re-recorded the thing that I was talking about. Look, I freestyle this show. I'm like the Jay-Z of cruise news. I'm a freestyler. And so I take in all the source information that I have, I commit it to my brain, I read it several times, I look at it as I'm talking, but then I just work through the show delivering the lines, and if I don't like the way something sounds or the way that I said something, or if I messed up the way I said something, then I just record it again. And so at the end of the day, I have a huge file filled with all of these sentences or phrases or my phrasing or turns of words, and then I edit those into the show. So essentially what you saw is that I missed the edit. Now, I've made 2,000 videos, and I can't think of another time where I've had that kind of moment in the video. So it makes sense that you wouldn't really understood what happened. And so it makes sense. See, I just did it. And so it makes sense. This is how it works. And so it makes sense that there would be that gap there as I waited for whatever was happening to subside, and I just forgot to edit it out. So thanks everybody for the concern. I'm perfectly fine, but that's kind of a behind the scenes. That's what it looks like when I'm making the show, and so fear not. But now you won't really ever know if I have a stroke, so that's kind of disheartening, because now you'll think it's just me not editing correctly. But either way, there's that. And while we're here doing some housekeeping, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. And I just realized we did not talk about something that I normally hate on a Carnival cruise ship that I might have loved last night. So I got to tell you about that. And then we will talk about the Good Morning America interview of the guy who went over on the cruise ship. So much to talk about today. So truth be told, there are 3 things that most people love on Carnival cruise ships that I absolutely hate. And one of them is the Copacabana style main dining room showtime, where you flail your napkins around, you throw food on everybody, and these poor servers that need to serve us dinner are out there dancing and singing. And now look, my new best friend, John Heald, I met him last week. I'm pretty sure we're fast friends now. We're besties. He said in a post that many of the crew members love it. And he has access to crew members. I certainly don't have the same access to crew members. He also worked on a cruise ship that did the showtime, so I'll take him at his word. I'm sure the servers love it. But look, as a consumer of the main dining room experience, I just want my dessert, and I don't want people to do the song and dance. However, last night, dinner in Chibang. I'd go crazy when she moved. How about that for a William Hung reference? Here's my dinner from Chibang last night. I went mostly Mexican. I had the nachos, I had the asada tacos, I had the steak ranchero, and then I had the Chibang dessert. And they also had a weird creme brulee, which I did not like because it was all spiced up. That was my food last night. But what happened is they had showtime. They had showtime in Chibang, and it was dragons. They popped out dragons. It wasn't Copacabana. I like the dragons, I'll tell you that. So maybe my heart was changed last night. Maybe I'm a little more tolerant of showtime because Chibang, they did it to me. I did get in trouble. Go look at some of our short form content, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, because Jenny gave me a hard Anthony last night because I got in trouble for looking at something that I wasn't supposed to look at. But okay, there's that. All right, here's the dude. James Micheal Gimes did an interview this morning with Good Morning America. He's the 28-year-old gentleman who went overboard on the Carnival Valor in the water for up to 20 hours, and he tells his story in this 7-minute interview. I would suggest that you go out there on the internet and find it. Good Morning America, James Micheal Gimes. Don't do it right now. YouTube doesn't like it when you leave YouTube. Watch a few more Lido Loca videos, and then go find the interview. Super interesting, but let me give you the highlights. What are the questions that we all want to know the answer to? They hit him pretty hard, like, were you drunk? Did you have a lot to drink? He adamantly says, no, I do not feel like I was inebriated. And then they said, okay, well, how did you go overboard? And well, unfortunately, he does not remember. He just remembers leaving his family and then waking up in the water. And then he goes on to talk about his whole experience in the water. He found something to eat. He had an animal encounter, and he was dressed interestingly when he was rescued. Again, go watch this interview, but it's a dang miracle, really, that this guy survived for 20 hours in the water. And listening to him, you can tell that he had a real zeal, a real, desire to be alive. Look, I guess we'll never know how this guy went overboard. I haven't seen from Carnival how they said he's gone overboard, and of course he doesn't remember. So, look, I don't think you can fall off a cruise ship. They're built so that you don't fall off of them. So it'll be interesting to see if we ever get the whole story on that. But yeah, excellent interview. Go check that out. I did just mention a few minutes ago, there are 3 things that I hate about Carnival that other people love. You know that one of them is showtime, but do you know what the other 2 are? I did a video all about it. Make sure you check out this video next. This is Tony for Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.